James 2, 8-9 says this: "If you really fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, you shall love your neighbour as yourself. You are doing well. But if you show partiality, you are committing sin and are convicted by the law as transgressors." Really short, really punchy, really to the point as ever with James. But here he is just picking up on a key and central theme of his big brother, Jesus, and the foundations that Jesus laid for his kingdom in places like Matthew 22, 37-40, where he said to love your neighbour as yourself, to love others as yourself, was a governing principle of how he wanted his people to live, to all people they encountered in his kingdom. It's a principle that Jesus talked about so many different times. He talked about it during the parable of the Good Samaritan, where he extended the idea of neighbour beyond somebody who just looked and thought like you, or who lived in close proximity to you, to a foreigner to you, somebody who you might actually have some prejudices against, somebody who you may even, as in the case of the Samaritans with the Jewish nation at the time, see as a threat to your own culture. You were to love these people, even these people, like yourself, because they were your neighbours. And then in other places like Matthew 5:44, he extends this principle even further to say, no, you love your enemies like this as well. Those who are physically trying to harm you or who are hostile to you. James here is bringing us back to this point here and saying, look, this is a royal and a governing law. This word royal is really important here. It can be translated governing or central as well. It is a central principle that you are to understand as God's people, that you are to love your neighbour, which means everybody you encounter, regardless of their belief system, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender background, regardless of their levels of hostility to you personally, as you would love yourself. That idea, think about it just for a second. How do you love yourself? Well, you love yourself by clothing yourself. You love yourself by feeding yourself. You love yourself by seeking shelter. You love yourself by thinking the best of yourself. You love yourself by seeking out good friends, good activities, good purpose in life. James here is reminding us straight away that this is the way Jesus wants us to love whoever we encounter in life. We want that same kind of love for them that we show and display for ourselves, because that is God's heart for them. And he goes on to flip this on its head and said, if you show any kind of favoritism, any kind of partiality, you're actually in breach of this law and breach of God's heart for all people. Don't show favoritism. Don't discriminate in love.